So, yeah, then put it on. Adityanamaham Vishnu. Aham Vishnu Jyotisham Ravir Ashmu Ashumam Amshumam Marichir Marutam Asmi Nakshatranam Aham Shashi. Yeah, one of you can read. Are you reading? I can't hear. Are you reading? One of you can read.
Oh, I'm traveling. That's why I can't read.
Okay, somebody can read.
May I read, Prabhu?
Sure.
Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of light, I am the radiant sun. Of the Mars, I am Marichi, and among the stars, I am the moon. There are 12 Adityas, of which Krishna is the principal. Among all of the luminaries shining in the sky, the sun is the chief, and in the Brahma Samhita, the sun is accepted as the glowing eye of the Supreme Lord. There are 50 varieties of wind blowing in space, and of these winds, the controlling deity Marichi represents Krishna. Among the stars, the moon is the most prominent at night, and thus the moon represents Krishna. It appears from this verse that the moon is one of the stars. Therefore, the star that twinkle in the sky also reflects the light of the sun. The theory that there are many suns within the universe is not accepted by Vedic literature. The sun is one, and as by the reflection of the sun, the moon illuminates, so also do the stars. Since Bhagavad Gita indicates herein that the moon is one of the stars, the twinkling stars are not suns but are the similar to the moon.
Yeah. So this is a nice verse. Of the Adityas, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. The Vrutas, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am the moon. So he is the best among all. Among the Adityas, I am Vishnu. The best among all. Of the lights, I am the radiant sun. Vrutas, I am Marichi. Among the stars, I am the moon. So two ways Krishna will describe. He is the best of everything and he is the essence of everything. Like he will say, I am the fragrance of the flower. I am the ability of the man. Like I am the essence of that substance. It's like that also. Essence of that thing. So he is best of everything. He's the essence of everything also. So he says, there are 12 Adityas of which Krishna is the principal. Among all the luminaries shining in the sky, the sun is the chief. Sun is expressed as glowing eye of the Supreme Lord. So whenever sun is there, you can think that this is sun and moon are the eyes of the Lord. There are 50 varieties of wind blowing in space, and these winds converting Marichi represents Krishna. Among the stars, the moon is the most prominent at night, and thus the moon represents Krishna. It appears from this verse that moon is one of the stars. Therefore, the stars that twinkle in the sky also reflect the light of the sun. The theory that there are many suns within the universe is not accepted by the literature. Sun is one, and as by the reflection of the sun, the moon illuminates, so also do the stars. Nakshatranam aham shashihi, saying among the stars is the moon. So the moon is also one of the stars. And the sun is one, and by the reflection of the sun, the moon illuminates, so that's also do the stars. So Bhagavad indicates that herein that the moon is one of the stars. The twinkling stars are not suns, but are similar to the moon. So this is one thing you find. There are many things which science may tell, but Vedas may tell differently. So one should know that the perception of the reality can differ depending upon the person who is perceiving it. So the person who is having 4 defects, imperfections, you get illusion, you have tendency to commit mistakes, you have cheating propensity. So when we perceive, or when any scientist perceive with his all instruments or whatever, so their perception will have fault because they have 4 defects. Like a child may perceive a pencil which is put in the beaker as bent, right? Just because the child is perceiving like that doesn't mean the pencil is bent. Now he may see, no, this pencil is bent. But the intelligent man knows that it's simply a refraction phenomenon. The pencil is not bent, it is simply the work of the refraction that appears like it is bent. Same way, scientists they try to do research and try to observe through the defective senses, and then they try to get into some conclusion, and that conclusion may sometimes differ from Vedic conclusions. So, which conclusion you are going to take? So that is an important question. What do you think? Which conclusion you will take? Any one of you like to share? Now, science are having some kind of perception, scientific, mind, scientists. But the problem is they have 4 defects. They're imperfect senses, they get illusion, they continuance, they commit mistake, they cheating propensity. So they observe, they have perception, and they can perceive things differently. Sometimes there are 2 scientists, they have different theories also. Different scientists, different theories. Sometimes different scientists come at different times and they keep changing the theory also, because the perception of a person who has 4 defects, we can never rely on it. So yes, we are conscious beings, we can perceive things, but our perceptions can be faulty because we have 4 defects. Then how we are going to rely on anything based on what they have done in scientific world research through their defective senses? So how can we rely on that? Does it make sense? So that's why. So now tell me. So which one you like to perceive? So that you'll rely on the scientific conclusions, or you rely on the Vedic conclusions, because Vedas, whatever they have been telling till now, it's time tested, it's foolproof. Not a single line of the Vedas can be proven to be wrong. And those who follow the Vedic literatures, they have the people of high character. Those who follow the teachings of Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, they are the people who can sacrifice for others. They have compassion, they have love for Lord, they have love for everyone. They have high character, high integrity. The people follow the principles in life, pure in character, pure in behavior, pure in thoughts, pure in dealings. So you can see they're the caliber of the people who follow the Vedas. And also the Vedic truths are also told. So many Vedic truths, like plants of life, Vedas have been always telling, counting as such properties. Then Vedas have been always telling that how there are life on other planets, embryology, astrology, astronomy. So many fields of knowledge, Vedic mathematics, Ayurveda. You can see how Vedas have such kind of depthness and widthness, broadness of the knowledge. It is enormous knowledge is there, and all those knowledge cannot come from any mortal being, because like if you talk about Ayurveda, how no person is able to do that much research to find out so many herbs which can cure certain diseases, which also with the properties of all the herbs and all. The Ayurveda lists them down. The many herbs you can't even find also, but it's there in the Vedas. So Ayurveda. So somebody is expert and try to can get those herbs, and then if you do it, it works. So we have not done that research, but it's already there in that Vedas. It is already there. Same way Vastu Shastra, it works. No scientists have developed that science, but that science is already there in Vedas. And if you follow that, one can see its impact on the mind and the psychology of the person. If you have things as per the Vastu Shastra, it has different impacts and results as per mentioned in the Vedic literatures, as per the Vastu Shastra. Same way astrology, astronomy, so many fields of knowledge, where Vedas have been telling things which are infallible. So same way, they are also talking about about the planetary systems, about the structure of the universe. So, so are we to believe on scientific conclusions, which are actually product of their defective senses, their perception we cannot rely on? But Vedic conclusions are not by some ordinary man's perception. It's actually given by the Supreme Lord directly. And those who are the great souls, those who are self-realized devotees, like Sudhir Goswami, they can also perceive that by dint of their surrender to Krishna. They can also perceive the universe as it is, as it's actually there in reality. By the dint of their surrender to Krishna, they also get that perfect vision. That's why Vyasadeva is glorified, that how he has a perfect vision. So how a devotee can have perfect vision? When he's completely aligned with the Lord and the teachings of the Lord. So that way the devotee also can have perfect outlook. Like a child who relies on father. Father says, beta, it is bent. No, it is not bent. It is simply refraction. And beta is simply accept that father's version. Then he also has perfect vision. And he also can say, oh, my father has told me it is actually not bent. It is straight only. But the refraction phenomena, something father is saying, because that it is like. So then the child can accept actually like that. So this is how one can accept the Vedic conclusion by dint of his surrender to Krishna. And then by doing that, one can actually have that vision by which he can understand things as they are in reality. One can eventually be given that vision. Like even to see the Vishwarup Darshan, Krishna gave vision to Arjuna. Same way, Sanjaya was able to witness what is happening in Kurukshetra by the mercy of Vyasdev. He gave him that vision that he could see that. Same way, when you take shelter of the Lord, then you also get the real vision, the perfect vision by which you can perceive things as they are. Like that. So, when Sukadeva Goswami is describing about the planetary systems, the structure of the universe, he's actually seeing them, in Turiya stage, that is in perfect stage, because he has taken full shelter of the Lord. He's a liberated soul. By mercy of Krishna, he is having the vision by which he is able to perceive the universe very clearly. And that is as per the Vedic teachings also. So that's why his vision is perfect. So we can safely accept the conclusions of the Vedas about the situation of the planets. Like here is telling that moon is one of the stars. If you go and argue with some scientist, they'll say, no, it's not a star and things like that. There are many millions of suns, they may say. But no, there's only one sun for every universe. That's what Vedas are confirmed like that. So yeah, we rely on the Vedic conclusions based on our reasonable faith on the Vedas, and we can discard the scientific conclusions if they are not in line with Vedic conclusions, because we know that every scientist has 4 defects, and their perceptions can also be faulty because they have 4 defects. Imperfect senses, they have tendency to commit mistakes, they get illusion, they have cheating propensity. So, and also the scientists, we know that because of their being a conditioned soul, they also have many, many kinds of fallacies in their own character, in their own behavior also. Many of them may be eating meat and things like that. In contrast to the devotees who are following the Vedas, kind of character and integrity, the purity they exhibit is cannot match. So yeah, so it's up to individual whom he puts faith on. You want to put faith on the scientific conclusion or Vedic conclusion? It's up to you. The point is we have good reasons to put faith on Vedic conclusions, right? So any comments or question anybody has? Any reflection, comments, questions?
I guess so we should be kind of valuing the science and also the Vedic wisdom as kind of both things. Like, I guess maybe the science can teach us about the physical world, but then the Vedic wisdom can teach us about the spiritual world and stuff.
Yes. So yes, science can teach us about the physical world, and Vedas also can teach us about the physical world. That's what he's talking about, the universe, right? Here. So Vedas can also talk, because Vedas are like manual for the entire cosmos. So they will tell you what's going on in the cosmos. They can give you the knowledge about the cosmos, how you have to deal in this world, what will happen. At the same time, Vedas will also tell you what the purpose of you being in this cosmos. How can you attain the perfection of life and go back to the spiritual world also. So Vedas will even mention that as well. So Vedas will talk both aspects. And science, yes, we are not against science. Science may be doing good work in terms of finding out certain knowledge about this universe. But what we are telling is, but we cannot blindly rely on scientific conclusions, because science has limitations. So we can collaborate with science to the degree we are having integrity and loyalty towards Vedic conclusions. That's why we have to become a spiritual scientist. We have to become Vedic scientists. So we have BI, Bhakti Vedanta Institute, BI. So their BI, what it does, they're all scientists there. All of them are very highly educated, PhDs, postdocs, highly intellectuals. But they are devotees. They align with the Vedic conclusion because we know that it is coming from a perfect source. And then you do all your research and everything to be able to fathom more about certain domain of knowledge. You try to develop it, elaborate it, and better appreciate the Vedic conclusions like that. So then it's fine. Then it's not a problem. Science can be a good tool to sometimes elaborate the Vedic conclusions and understand things, or explain things. That's good. But one should not become carried away by the scientific conclusions, because sometimes you cannot rely on it, because they may not be the truth, because it's coming from the scientists who are having 4 defects. Their perceptions can be faulty.
Theories.
And we have seen there are many theories. Sometimes it has no basis. Sometimes it has to be discarded. Many scientific conclusions, they were wrong. So, but Vedic conclusions we never find. Whatever Gita has been telling 5,000 years before, even now also it is the same. They're not changing any theory. No Vedic theory is being changed over the period of time. Does it make sense, Robert?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other thing you want to say?
It's good also to learn last night, and make sense from the session last night. Also, similar concepts about the spiritual and the physical.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so we were talking about how we are different from the physical body, right? Yeah. Correct.
Yes.
Correct, Rahul?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Srinivasan, you want to say something?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So what I understand is that human discoveries are defective because his senses are defective. We should always take evidences from the Shastras.
Yeah,
That's what I understand.
that's true.
Like, because our senses are defective, our intelligence is limited. We should always take evidences from Shastras. So all this scientific truths actually that shared in the Bhagavad Gita is coming from Krishna, who's the source of all knowledge. I mean, we should take as this, as you said, like just like a father tells a son.
Yeah. So we are good as scientists when we are trying to explore, and it's going on well with the Vedic conclusion as well, because certain things we can perceive and which may not be faulty, which may be as per what Vedas also telling. But we cannot always rely, right? We cannot always rely. So we need to, just like when we, if some of you might have tried in home, sometimes some device gets problem, then you try to repair it. Then you may do it something, not doubtful, and you play with the wire. Sometimes you may spoil the whole thing. Some kind of spark happen and gone, everything gone. Correct? So
Yes.
because you're not expert, because you may be doing some research in that, trying to find out knowledge, applying your brain, but you are subjected to some kind of wrong perception about things because you're not expert. We can achieve, but somebody is expert can.
Yes.
We have to always rely on the Vedic conclusions. So Prabhupada said, what is the need of doing so much of research? So already everything is there. You simply accept and get realized, become realized. You don't have to do too much of research. But yes, if you're inclined to do research, you can do that. No problem. To better appreciate the Lord's creation. But don't get carried away by your defective conclusions. Always relying on Vedic evidences, as you mentioned, because they are the perfect source of knowledge. And then you may explain things better with the help of science. That's good. Nothing wrong. We are not against science that way. In fact, we present many things very scientifically. There are researches happening on how chanting Hare Krishna is helping people to have more stress-free mind, calmness. So many research have been done. So it's good. They're using science to, establish the Vedic conclusion. Chanting is effective, like that. You understand? Prabhu?
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Robert, clear? Everything? Robert, Prabhu? Robert? Are you there, Robert? Puna Mata, you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Robert, you want to say Hare Krishna? Are you there, Robert? He left. Okay, no problem. Okay, Prabhu.